Therefore, the hypothesis for our group is whether modernization in Singapore reduces rich cultural practices to their economic value and function. And even as we embark on the Fort Canning Heritage Trail, one thing we realize is that the culture here, actually there's not much cultural practice in that sense, whereby like in terms of rituals, but there's a lot of cultural significance in some of the artifacts and buildings that can be found here and monuments. And this is what we'll be exploring: the history and cultural significance of certain buildings and certain monuments, and how our group will argue that even though we've seen examples of maybe like the 9-pound cannon, whereby the cultural heritage and cultural value of a monument is not compromised, more often than not, there are instances whereby, because Fort Canning is located on prime land where rents are high and a lot of money can be made, so you can see things like souvenir shops and restaurants being opened here, and we'll see how cultural practices, rather the historical and cultural significance of monuments and places, are reduced to this economic function and propagate and used for economic use and for money making use, and not just a place whereby history can be learned, rather it's a place where money can be made. Yep. So
okay, hi everyone. Okay, as you can see, we're at Fort Canning Park now. This is a sign over there, and today we're going to bring you guys along the Fort Canning Heritage Trail. We will not only be bringing you along the way, but we also provide useful information and interesting stuff about the place. You might think that this is just a park, but with cultural monuments and all, but actually there are a lot more economic stuff going on. But without further ado, let's go and check it out, man! Do the jump shot like.
The reason that we chose Fort Canning Park is because it has a rich culture. It contains memorials of Singapore's early history dating all the way back to the 14th century. Sir Stamford Raffles, the founder of Singapore, even built a personal bungalow in the place in 1823. And other colonial officials made their residence there as well. Prior to the arrival of Sir Stamford Raffles, the place was known as Forbidden Hill and is termed as Bukit Larangan in the Malay language. And it was said that ancient Malay rulers once stood at the summit of this hill. And archaeological evidence confirms that a Malay kingdom once existed in the place. This picture shows Fort Canning in 1860, and you can see that why it is used as a fort because of its strategic location. It is located up on a hill and is advantageous for defenders against intruders. In 1860, Fort Canning was named after Lord Canning, who was the Governor General and the first Viceroy of India. The name remains unchanged till today despite the end of its military role. During World War II, the fort was being used to defend against intruders. It also acted as a military base. When Japan took over Singapore, they in turn used the place for similar functions. It was eventually returned to the British in 1945 when Japan lost the war and surrendered. And in 1963, the British handed over the fort to the Singapore Armed Forces. The Singapore Command and Staff College was then built to provide more facilities to train its soldiers in 1970. Today, the fort has become a park. It offers a variety of recreational activities with entertainment, historical and cultural experiences, and has somewhat transformed into an economic unit. It had hosted many events like carnivals and concerts, including WOMAD, which is Singapore's largest music festival. WOMAD has been organised in the park since 1998, and organisers who want to use the place to hold their events will have to rent the place and pay a fee for it.
This is one of the pair of cannons around Fort Canning. They actually play a decorative role rather than a defensive one, as the cannon was fired 3 times a day at 5 AM, 1 PM and 9 PM to announce the hour. It was also fired as a salute and warning of town fires. We believe that such decorations actually do not serve any economic function, rather they serve a decorative function, and they also actually give us a glimpse of the heritage and the cultural practices that they actually carry out during the olden days.